We've got a great program today. It is a pre-recorded program, but all the presenters are here in person. From three of our own, John Gale, DJ Hilson, and Michael Poulin are here to talk about a rapid response to law enforcement. We'll start the meeting with our Pledge of Allegiance, and we will do a reflection from me, pinch hitting for Alan Alpert. We'll have our Rotary Trivia and student guests today from Whitehall. We'll do the four-way test at the end of the meeting. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, you may be seated. Okay, our trivia today, this is a throwback, kind of in honor of building the hype up for our Grape Escape preview on March 24th, which Meredith is going to talk more about later. Does anyone in the room know, and were you there at the first Grape Escape? What year was that? 2007, a little before that, Marty? 2004, that is correct. So the first Grape Escape was spearheaded by President then Larry Wright back in 2004, celebrated its 15th anniversary just a couple of years ago, and every year raises about $30,000 for our club. All right, so I have this reflection hot off the email from Alan Alpert. He wasn't feeling up to coming in person today. And this is from Pope John the 23rd. Consult not your fears, but your hopes and your dreams. Think not about your frustrations, but about your unfulfilled potential. Concern yourself not with what you have tried and failed in, but with what is still possible for you to do. Thank you very much, Alan. Everyone enjoy lunch, and we'll be back in a few minutes with our visiting Rotarians and our student guests. Want to start out by thanking Lakeisha Harris with Soulfilled Catering for our desserts today. Lakeisha, thank you very much for coming. And Lakeisha is a former Rotary Youth Exchange student 29 years ago. She went to Brazil, so if you could just stand up, Lakeisha, so we can give you a nice round of applause. And that was all made possible by Aaron Mikey. He thought it would be nice to bring Lakeisha in to celebrate and recognize Black History Month. So thanks again, Lakeisha, for coming in and for the wonderful desserts. Okay. Even more applause. I know that wasn't for me. Okay. Visiting Rotarians and guests. So if you have a visitor or you are a visitor, come on up here. We got Rob Taylor, Missy Horton, Dave Alexander, Josh Silvis. And we have Charlotte Johnson. Join us, Charlotte. If you just want to stand up, she saw our posting on Facebook, and she just thought it'd be nice to come in and visit us at our meeting. So, Dave, you're up first.
We'll just close to your mouth. You want this one here? Find your mark. Oh, find my mark. Good afternoon, Rotarians. When I was this age, I needed an introduction. This young lady does not. Emily Morgenstern. She is the Director of Marketing and Advocacy for your Chamber of Commerce, Muskegon Lakeshore Chamber of Commerce. And you would know her through her grandfather, Richard, her father, Roger, her uncle, Doug, and the next member of the Muskegon Rotary Club from the Morgenstern family, Emily.
Hi, I have today with me my coworker, Gwen Adams, and Gwen is she wears two hats at the museum. She is our volunteer coordinator, but also our safety coordinator. And so she's the one who has been working hard through this pandemic to write policies and update pandemic plans and make sure that the museum's safe for the visitors and staff. And I just thought she would really be interested in today's program, so I brought her along to here. So, Gwen.
I'm joined again today by my coworker Tom Palmer at Shoreline Insurance, and Tom has applied, been accepted, and just waiting to be inducted.
They don't want to see me, so you guys sneak in. Hello, Rotary. Please join me in welcoming our friends from Whitehall. We've got Vikings in the house. To introduce two of their seniors is Brett Westerland. He is the principal at the high school.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having us. Lakeisha, I don't see her over there right now, but I would recommend the banana pudding. It was delicious. So Whitehall High School, there's a lot of great things going on. We feel like we're getting back to normal a little bit this spring after the last year and a half. And just some highlights, athletics, wrestling is in the state finals tomorrow. They are ranked second going in, so we're wishing them luck. And then also just our other sports they're a week or two away from the postseason, so just a lot of great things. And then our two seniors here today, they're doing great things at the high school, and we're looking forward to what the future holds for them. So Alyssa Taylor and Josh Holmberg.
Hi, again, I am Alyssa Taylor. I'm involved in a Link leadership program that we have at Whitehall, and I also play softball in the spring. Next year, I plan to go to MCC on the Muskegon Promise and take up their teacher prep program. So yeah.
My name is Josh Holmberg, and I'm involved in NHS, and I play soccer for Whitehall. After high school, I plan to go to Ferris for a pre-optometry program.
Nice job.
Okay, on to our program. We have a presentation today from many of our own, John Gale, DJ Hilson, and Michael Poulin. They're going to talk about the recent school threats and how our local law enforcement has teamed up with the FBI and Secret Service to address and mitigate those threats. This is a pre-recorded program, but everyone is in the house today to answer questions afterwards. So get your questions ready, and we'll let Mike take it away.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. It is yet again my pleasure to join you this afternoon. And I'm going to be joining you kind of like a player coach, moderator, participant today in this topic of discussion. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to my Green Bay Packers. As you can see, Bow Tie Friday, wearing the Packers bow tie. And I'm sorry, Lions fans, that's just the way it is. But I am absolutely this. I tell you what, this program is going to be fantastic because I'm joined with two of my great friends in law enforcement, guys that I've known for a long, long time. Chief John Gale of Norton Shores and Sheriff Michael Poulin. These guys are top-notch law enforcement guys, and it is our pleasure to really talk about something that has come to light in the last, I'd say, 2.5 weeks. But it goes to show yet again why Muskegon County and law enforcement, why Muskegon County's law enforcement is so very special, and why, again, I think we're probably the best in the state. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into this bad boy. I want to start first and foremost with Chief Gale. Let's talk a little bit about, or have you talk a little bit about what, I guess, brought to the forefront this idea of a school safety task force and why you felt it's so important to bring all law enforcement together. So that's my first question to you, my friend.
Great. Thank you, DJ. Yeah, 2 weeks ago, we I received a call from my agency that there were some threats to Mona Shores High School via TikTok and some other social media. I immediately reached out to our superintendent at Mona Shores and started a plan to work together between their administration and our police department to find out if it was a credible threat. From there, I started getting other information throughout the county that the same thread was used in several school districts and many others were having the same problem. So I knew it wasn't just a Norton Shores, Mona Shores thing. It was a Muskegon County problem. And law enforcement in Muskegon County work well together. When one of us needs help, everybody jumps in. And that's what happened. I came to work Monday morning, immediately at 7 a.m., sent out an email asking for assistance to work on this problem all together as a group. And within 3 hours, I had every leader from every law enforcement. Of course, you, Mr. Prosecutor, the most important person to have there. The FBI, Secret Service, we had a full room because everybody dropped what they were doing on a Monday morning and responded to work together with this problem. We took it seriously. We jumped on it immediately, assigned our top detectives in Muskegon County to start working on this problem, and dedicated all our time, to make sure our schools were safe, make sure we were addressing these threats immediately so we could make sure parents felt safe to send their kids to school. And I was just proud of how law enforcement reacted and worked together so quickly.
Yeah, thank you for that, John. Thank you for that leadership. And certainly, just as an aside before I get to our illustrious sheriff, that the formation of that task force itself garnered a lot of attention across the state. I end up answering calls about it, not only locally through media, but also across the state through media. Because again, Muskegon County leading the way and being innovative in leading the way, because as far as I was told, this was the only task force of its kind across the state of Michigan. So hats off to you, Chief Gale, for your leadership. And again, I agree with you. Hats off to Muskegon County law enforcement for yet again stepping up to the plate. Sheriff, what I'd like you to at least explain to the Rotarians is, certainly we see these threats, school threats, kind of bubble up when we have an incident like we had at Oxford, Michigan, but that it's not necessarily that they're not necessarily concentrated to those incidents. That we do see on occasion, every once in a while, these things pop up. And as a result, law enforcement has developed an investigative protocol, at least to get the ball rolling. And so, if you could, Sheriff, kind of describe for the Rotarians what happens when a threat comes in and law enforcement starts its work.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for the time. I'm glad to be here. As a result of the task force coming together, and another important part of that task force was Central Dispatch being involved. They were at the meeting also, their director. And, as these complaints come in now, having our task force groups together, when a call comes in, we now, as law enforcement leaders, are immediately notified on our cell phones through the CAD notes through Central Dispatch. And this has been a great resource because then we're able to forward that information immediately when the call comes in to members of our task force. And we can just, we can share the information, which is one of the most important things. Like Chief Gale said, we find that a lot of these incidences that were going on were being shared even in other counties, okay, the threats that were happening. And so we were able to really kind of dispel and discredit some of those threats that were going on and get officers to respond as quick as they can, because it's important that everybody understands you need to call 911 still. But we get to coordinate our efforts much easier, much quicker, and share that information, especially when we're working with our federal law enforcement partners too, which played such an important role these past couple weeks.
And Sheriff, could you describe just in general terms kind of the protocol that our investigators follow? So, for example, a threat comes in, let's take it to the point where we find the source of that threat. What happens next?
Well, if we find the source of that, I mean, through a lot of interviews that are happening that the investigators are going to be doing, And I think as our community's seen over the past few weeks, the response has been immediate, and how that's addressed. And, obviously that's through a lot of coordination through your office, that we're making sure that people understand that, just how serious this is. Um, we've served search warrants. We will arrive to an individual's home, interviews with parents, and really, seizing any evidence that we can, as a result of those investigations. And depending on the age of the individual, if we're going to end up at a district court level or circuit court level at some point, or juvenile court, getting them in front of a magistrate is very important. But that response is immediate, very, very quick.
Yeah, and I'll echo that. I mean, certainly, what law enforcement, what we're interested in, certainly as the agency that ends up making charging decisions, what we're interested in is a couple of things. Certainly we want to see how credible the threat is. What access does that young person or that person have to weapons, whether it be weapons that they might have or that their parents may have. We also, as the sheriff indicated, are searching through all electronic devices. What are they searching on the internet? What are they posting and doing on social media? And more importantly, I think probably the most important step that we're using is having that individual evaluated. What is their mental state of mind? Is it truly just being, well, I'll say a stupid kid, or is there some mental illness that we need to be aware of from the law enforcement side of things, and develop that relationship with our mental health partners? And so it really is kind of a holistic public safety / mental health investigation, to make sure that no one is in danger of being harmed, make sure our students and teachers are safe, but also making sure that we're dealing with whatever issue that young person might be dealing with at that moment in time in their life. Chief Gale, back to you. Can you describe for the Rotarians kind of the importance and how it worked with the schools in town, please?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Great question. That's really the critical part, is having constant communication with our superintendents, our principals. There's many nights throughout the last 2 weekends where I had about 14 different calls to our superintendent back and forth, trying to make that critical decision. What do we do with school the next day? Pretty tough decision, and it doesn't come lightly. There's a lot of different factors that are involved, whether we really do feel it's credible, or what information law enforcement has. And we have to make sure the school needs or has that information so they can make that proper decision to keep school open or closed the next day. So having that cell phone communication back and forth immediate is so important. That same day that we had the task force, we also met through Dr. Severson at the ISD, set up a meeting with all our school superintendents. The sheriff, yourself, and I, of course, and several other of our law enforcement leaders met with the superintendents and had that one-on-one conversation to make sure we had open communication, that we could work on this together. And it's really critical that that happens. And once again, our relationship with the superintendents and the schools and law enforcement in Muskegon County are at the top. I mean, they brag about it. We brag about it because it's true.
Yeah, and Sheriff, can you kind of touch on how important that communication is? Certainly, obviously, school districts school districts have the ability to have, they're within cities that have police jurisdictions, but your department essentially is part of a lot of the school districts in our rural areas. So how important has that communication been with your office and those school districts?
As we have this discussion and we talk about communication, the communication is so important, but that communication happens due to our relationships with the districts and with the superintendents in our community. And that's really where that's from. And much like Chief Gale had expressed, the conversations he had when these calls started coming in and these threats were happening from his superintendent at Mona Shores Public Schools, I was receiving those calls too but they were calls from municipalities, that have their own law enforcement agency. And everybody's looking for help and looking for support. And the fact that, I have superintendents that have my cell phone number, and we can communicate directly to one another, and it's really about those relationships. We made ourselves available, the last couple weeks whenever a district needed to be in the area or in a building. I was back at Reese Puffer High School this morning, myself. One morning I went up to Holton, just to have that presence there. We want it's very important that our children are, not don't not only know that they're safe, but they feel safe. Okay, so they can get back in that educational environment from there. But as Chief Gale said, we've been working a number of years with the ISD, with the superintendents, helping them with their emergency response plans. It really is about those relationships we have here in Muskegon County, both through the law enforcement agencies and our school districts. And that's what's really helped this, I believe, over the last few weeks on handling these situations.
Before I touch on some of the things that the prosecutor's office has done in relation to our relationships with law enforcement and with the schools, both of you have been a part of, this is sort of a foundational groundwork type question. Both of you have been a part of a very groundbreaking, award-winning program that started in Mona Shores and has blossomed to other districts, and that's the Ride with Pride program. And certainly, the key element to that is building this idea of responsibility and accountability amongst the students in a very positive light. Can you both touch on, that and how you think that may have limited, even though we've got a few that we've charged. I mean, we've got several thousand students and only a handful have resulted in some criminal charges for bad decisions. But how has that program, you think, been part of the success here in Muskegon County? Chief Gale, I'll start with you.
All right, thank you, DJ. Ride with Pride started about 9 years ago, and when we look back at why it started and when it started, we had a lot of issues in the schools in a difficult relationship between law enforcement and students, where most of the time we were looked at as a punishment factor of the school. We were looking for reasons to ticket them or get them in trouble, and really that wasn't the case. But we had to break down that thought in our students, and it gave our school resource officers a chance to be looked at in a positive light. So Ride with Pride was created to not look at the negative side of what kids were doing, but praise that positive side. So each time you see a kid doing something right, they need to be told they're doing something right and encourage that behavior. And as that blossomed, it started at Mona Shores Schools, blossomed throughout the county. We're now in 9 school districts in Muskegon County and 1 in Oceana. I've received calls in Kent County and Ottawa County on spreading the program into those counties as well. Also some interest nationally out of New York. But the program really has done a great job. Pre-COVID, we were on a roll. We were adding new schools 2 to 3 a year. The statistics are there. I mean, we can show that kids were doing the right things. Referrals to the front offices, laws that were broken were just dropping. They dropped each year to historical lows. Very, very difficult to gauge that the last 2 years with COVID, because a lot of online things are going on. But right now we're back to a difficult spot. We need to get back in the schools and encourage that positive behavior again, because of all that's going on in the world. We just have to learn to be nice, get along with each other, and concentrate on helping each other instead of looking at every negative aspect in life.
Sheriff, can you just kind of expand on that? I know this program has received certainly a lot of local attention, but also statewide and national attention, and what that has meant as far as what you see being a positive impact on our schools here.
Well, the thing is, just like Chief Gale had said, being able to, the districts recognizing the good things that our students are doing and an ability to reward them for it. And as a student, when they're putting their signature on a contract, right, and that they're going to follow these, guidelines and the rules set forth in the program, throughout the school year, and that they understand at the end of the year there's going to be a reward for it. And, as we go to the assemblies and we participate in the program, and we're out at the schools and we're interacting with the kids, and that's really what I find to be the most rewarding for myself. It's not even that they have an opportunity to win something really big. I mean, these are cars that are being given away, right? And so I mean, what high school kid wouldn't want an opportunity to win a car? So, you know, the carrot's there, but really, it's really about that positive behavior and being able to recognize that and award them for it. And I just really enjoy being out there interacting with the kids, you know, throughout the year, because it's not a one and done. You know, this is you've signed that contract and you got to follow through the whole year. And it's just been fabulous. And you know, I'm proud to be part of it. I'm proud of Chief Gale for, you know, having the wherewithal to bring this to Muskegon County. And as you said, it's been an award-winning program. You know, I guess I remember when we were both young traffic officers at a traffic safety summit, and we kind of heard about a program just like this. And I remember, I don't remember if it was Sergeant Gale back then or whatever brought it, you know, to his department to talk about it. And it was, you know, you want to give a car away? You know, it was really, people didn't get it, you know, but as a community, you know, we find the cars, our community comes together, and they help support the program. It's just been fabulous. It's just been fabulous.
Yeah, I mean, again, it just goes to show the type of leadership that we have here in this county when it comes to law enforcement. And certainly having spoken a couple of times at the assemblies that happen, the energy that these kids bring to that. And really, like you said, they make this agreement at the start of the school year. And it's really all about what they have to do is just make good, positive decisions. And if they do that, they increase their opportunity for that car. And I tell you what, man, it is something spectacular. And you guys really leading the forefront of that. Kudos to you, because that's something that, again, Muskegon County should be very, very proud of, and very, very proud of the leadership that you guys bring to that. You know, from my end of things, you know, obviously I can't do my job without strong law enforcement partnerships and investigations. And, you know, unfortunately, we've had to charge, as of today, up to 24 juveniles with various offenses for making threats to schools. But as these guys know, and as our school friends know, and certainly now as students know, we have to take these things very, very seriously. And that's the message that all three stakeholders, myself, law enforcement, and schools, have been sending. This is not a joke. We are not taking it as a joke, and we will not take it as a joke. That's why these guys have devoted resources to investigation, why we are being very public with some of the charging decisions that we're making, and ultimately making sure that parents, teachers, and students understand that it is safe to walk in that school building and you can go and learn and be safe. So, on behalf of certainly the prosecutor's office, I thank you guys, Sheriff Poulin, Chief Gale, the rest of our law enforcement partners, and certainly our school friends. Uh, we can't do this without you, and I'm just so proud to be a part of something that is making a difference here in Muskegon County. With that being said, our time is done. Sheriff, thank you so much. Chief, as always, gentlemen, you guys are great. I love you, and we'll see you all soon.
Thank you very much, DJ, John, and Michael. If you want to come up here, we have time for some questions. Any questions on Zoom, Kim, just let me know, and we can ask those as well.
All the way over. All right, sorry.
They're on the big mic.
Ride with Pride actually work? What are the details of it?
Yeah, thanks for the question. It's a contract that the students actually sign at the beginning of the year. So all students, well, we hope so. We don't make them. It's not forced. It's willingly, but we have a contract for each age-appropriate school. So we even have Ride with Pride in the elementary school. But there's different topics that they sign off that they will not have negative contacts with the police, negative contacts with the front office. They will do the right thing, follow the policies of the school, not get traffic tickets. There's different. Each school has a little bit different, but it's age appropriate. So elementary, of course, won't have any of those topics. It's more about wearing their bicycle helmet and being nice and that type of thing. But they sign a contract. Their parents look at it, sign it as well, so they know what that contract is. And at the end of the year, if they abide by all those topics on that contract, then they can, their name's put in for a prize. At the high school level, it's a car. So it's a pretty big prize. Kids get really excited about it. They have a big celebration at the end of the school year, and everybody's pretty excited about it. Elementary age, it's more of the bicycles and things like that. So it's all about that contract and being nice and being positive. Everything's revolves around being positive on that contract.
Okay, my name is Brett Westerland, again from Whitehall High School, and as an administrator, I just want to thank the task force for the swiftness and the diligence they showed to those threats. We had a lot of scared parents and scared teachers and students, and the work that you guys did really did alleviate that. So as an administrator, a parent, and a community member, I just wanted to say thank you to the entire task force. You guys have done tremendous work.
I just, if I can real quick, just on that topic, as far as the task force goes, because on the presentation, I think everybody here heard at that time of the recording, and I really don't even remember when we did it, but at that time, I believe Prosecutor Hilson said 24 individuals had been charged then. You know, in less than a 1 month's time, all right, when these complaints started coming in, we received 39 cases altogether, all right, in less than a month's time of these threats that happened. Today, 3 of them are still pending, ongoing investigations that we're working on, all right, just kind of update you a little bit on that. 2 individuals were not charged, and then 2 others were involved in diversion from there. You know, late December, one of the complaints came in, and if you guys saw it in the media, we tried hyping it up quite a bit because really things started tapering off then at the end of December. But we had a young man, and he was on a web page. I never heard of it before. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but Omegle, if anybody knows it, O-M-E-G-L-E. It's a site you can go to chat with strangers where you don't have to register, okay? All that sounds no good to me, if I just say that anyways. But anyways, this young man's on this site talking to a girl. She was from Ohio, I believe, if anybody remembers, help me out. But he's here in Muskegon County, and he's talking to her, and he starts making threats about a school in California, all right? Well, she has a wherewithal to start recording the conversation with her phone, and she gets that information. She immediately got a hold of the FBI, all right, on their web page, reported the threats that he was making. I would say within the hour, we had the IP address of where the young man was, all right? He flashed a gun in the video also. So it was a pretty serious threat, but we didn't even know where it was or where it was going from. But we're able to figure it out and get that individual charged as far as it went. And I think when some of these students start seeing how serious this is, and I give that credit to our prosecutor and his staff for really addressing and attacking and handling the situations and giving the appropriate charges that we needed to bring this awareness to the youth so they would stop doing this. So.
2 quick questions. You may have covered this during the presentation and I missed it, but how long has the program in the schools been in existence?
Ride with Pride?
The Ride with Pride.
Ride with Pride.
This will be the 9th year of Ride with Pride.
Have
Yes.
any of those young people expressed interest in pursuing a career in law enforcement?
That's a good question. I believe one from North Muskegon, for sure. Beyond that, I'm not sure.
He joined the military.
Did he?
One of our deputy sons.
Okay. But, yeah, good question. I'm not positive, but at least one for sure. And it sounds like another one's in the military police right now, so, thank you.
Thanks for a great program, everyone. Looking at these 29 or 36, whatever kids, can you tell us what your investigators have found in terms of the mental states or the stupidity or the serious? No, seriously, you never know where somebody's going to come out of the woodwork. But what have you noticed in the mindsets of some of these young people that have been doing whatever they're doing?
Well, what I noticed as I reviewed all these cases, one, the age. We dealt with a lot of middle school age kids, a couple high school, but really the bulk of these were middle school age, so that 12 to 15-year-old. And really it was, all it really was they wanted a day off from school. And that was the mentality. Literally, that was the mentality. Now, we had a couple that were a little bit more serious than that we were, we're dealing with, but for the most part, it was this idea, well, I just wanted a day off from school, and this seemed like the best way to do it. And that was frustrating. That was frustrating for law enforcement, certainly frustrating for me. But ultimately, when we talk about the criminal charges, just so everybody understands, the idea wasn't to like put the hammer and the thumb screws to these young people. It was to make them understand that there is some accountability for the decisions they make. And ultimately, I would say 95% of these cases are in juvenile court, and we're dealing with them more on a diversionary type basis. We're not hanging criminal records on them, but they needed to understand that these decisions that they made carry some consequences, and understand that the resources that were devoted in order to make sure that everybody felt safe. Because literally, as I'm sure you all know parents, or you were parents, it was a scary time. It was a real scary time because the incident that precipitated all this was in our backyard. And that's what really heightened our awareness of this, and that's why I really appreciate John Gale and the sheriff and all law enforcement for really not even questioning and stepping up to the plate. That was phenomenal.
Any other questions? Last question?
I know at least out in Norton Shores you've been working on helping to protect the elderly, a topic after my own heart here. How prevalent are crimes against the elderly? And secondary question is, what about, are you seeing any more cyber crimes in terms of stolen identities? And if that happens to you, where do you start? Who do you call first?
Well, that's a great, man, I owe you like $50. No, I mean, again, I can't praise Muskegon County enough, law enforcement, and the ingenuity and the wherewithal to think outside the box. So to your question, Lox, probably 2 years ago now, we formed the Safe Seniors Task Force. And thanks to the sheriff, thanks to John Gale, thanks to Chief Thielbar, the Muskegon Township, because of that, we're able to draw into the senior millage dollars, so that senior millage that we all pay for, some of that funding has funded the detectives that are specifically trained and tasked to investigate elder abuse, whether it be physical, mental, or the scam part of it. And so that's a more than 40-hour per week job. It's amazing the Pandora's box that we've opened up here in Muskegon County. That team has investigated well over 200 complaints since its existence. It's increased our level of prosecution in that area. I devote one of my members of my staff, I don't get paid for that, but I do it. One of my staff works with these detectives. And ultimately, we are sending a message that they're able to dedicate the time and energy that it takes and the resources to investigate. But more importantly, to the second part of your question, they're also an education resource. Because a lot of times when these scams happen over email or the phone, it's coming from outside, certainly outside of Muskegon County, outside of the state, outside of the nation, and we divert that to the federal authorities. But we're also there to kind of talk and train and walk folks through as to why it isn't your grandson in a Bolivian jail that's asking for bail money. That person who sent you that really sexy picture doesn't want to marry you. Those are the common ones that we're seeing right now, and it's unfortunate because they're preying on those who are lonely and are looking just to have that conversation with somebody, and that's sad to me. But yeah, so we've been working very hard to dedicate a lot of law enforcement resources to that very issue because it's a crime that's gone unnoticed in the sense that nobody has really paid a lot of attention to it, but now we are.
Another round of applause.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry. As a result, we've gathered almost $2 million in restitution as a result, back into seniors, for our seniors, back in their pockets. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much, Michael, John, and DJ, for presenting today. Our club's going to make a donation to community economic development on your behalf. And once again, I don't think we can do too many rounds of applause for these guys and what they do. So let's do one more and send them off in style. Okay, birthdays. We got Jackie Farrar on February 24th. That's today. Jim Fisher on the 26th, and you can donate to Jim's fundraising. What is Jim raising money for his birthday? Does anyone? Reen Muskegon. So I thought that was a pretty creative thing to do for his birthday on the 26th. Chip Chipman on the 28th, and Esther Rico is a leap year baby on the 29th. So let's sing happy birthday, and then we got one more special birthday shout out. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. You guys are much better singers. I try to sing the happy birthday and get away from the mic as quick as I can. Okay, Mike, you very funny. I get you on one committee and now you're all fresh. Okay, Mike, special video for a birthday group that is celebrating 106 years. Happy birthday, Rotary. We are 106 years old this year. Okay, another video to continue the theme of the day. We have our Vocational Spotlight. We're going to learn about Lisa Saberin and what she does for a job and why she got into Rotary.
Hi, I'm Lisa Saberin. I joined Rotary in 2010, I believe. I wanted to be connected to the business community. And also, you can't say no to Jim Fisher. I've been married for about 23 years to my husband, Brett, who is an engineering manager at Howmet. And we have two sons, one a sophomore at Olivet and one a senior at Mona Shores High School. We are a very active family with the boys' sports, but also we like all things outdoors, including boating and snowmobiling. I am the president of the Employers Association of West Michigan. So we serve HR, safety, benefits, wellness, and training professionals up and down the lake shore. I started my career as a summer position, and I could never leave it. It's an incredible career where we work with all of the businesses along the lake shore, helping them with their HR, their people needs, training development. We also supply all the data for wages, salaries, benefits. Also, how are they handling COVID? You name it. I think the Employers Association is one of the best kept secrets, especially for small organizations. Companies don't know what they don't know. And I think where we really excelled was through COVID, when companies didn't know how to handle this, how to work with their employees on it. EA really excelled through that process, both with data, but also connecting companies to one another so that they could learn from one another. I think the biggest thing is the fact that I'm connected to 200 or so members along the lakeshore, probably about 125 in the Muskegon area, as far as their HR people. So initiatives like 1 in 21, the Seaway Run, all of those types of initiatives where we want to make change, I can help connect to the doers within an organization.
All right. Thank you very much, Lisa. Okay, now we have two announcements. Jenny Sprague and Meredith Smiley, if you want to come on up. Do my announcement while they're coming. We have comment cards on our tables again, so please take a moment and fill out comment cards to let the Delta know what you think about the meal today and the service. They appreciate the feedback. I talked to Summer, and she said she got lots of feedback last week.
Hello, my name's Jenny Sprague. I'm here in my role as the Paul Harris Committee Chairperson. In support of that effort, for those of you who are new or guests, Paul Harris is an award we give. It's the most prestigious award that Rotary has, and we honor deserving individuals with that. In conjunction with that, we have these Brave Rotarian contests where you can actually win one. You know, nothing to take the glamour off of it, but you do get to win one. So this time of year, we do the March Madness competition. We get 32 Brave Rotarians who get paired with a college or university that is in the March Madness basketball tournament. And so we're hoping that we will get that participation again this year, excuse me. Right now, we have 14 Brave Rotarians, so I'm still looking for some. You pay $100 to participate in the contest, and if we do get the full field of 32, we can award one to the person whose team wins the tournament, because you get matched with that school, and then we also do a drawing for 2 others from all the participants. I will welcome your participation. There is a full announcement in your rim, and please, I have a clipboard, I have a pen. I'd love to have you sign up. Thank you.
All right, you guys, I'm going to be up here every week until March 24th, which is our Grape Escape preview. So I'm just reminding everyone, we do have tickets available for the 5 o'clock dinner as well as the 7 o'clock dinner. I've seen the menu. It is fantastic. And again, all proceeds go to Rotary. So if you are signing up and you want to sit with another Rotarian and their spouses, please give me a shout out. I do have the list with me today of those who have already bought tickets. But again, just a reminder, purchase your tickets through Eventbrite, and there will be an announcement in the rim and a link to that website as well.
Okay, thank you, Meredith and Ginny. On to our raffle. Mary Beth Ramos, you have a raffle today? All right, what are we doing first? $249. Rich Kramer. It pays to come to Rotary. See, literally. Oh, pays to join Rotary. This is going to be good. What can we do to top this? Oh, pays to be a new Rotarian, a transferring Rotarian from Grand Rapids. So all those things. Okay, that brings us to the conclusion of our meeting today. I want to thank Gwen, Tom, Emily. What did I write there? Hold on. It's pretty bad when you can't even read your own writing. Charlotte, sorry, Charlotte, that's my fault. I can't read what I even put down. Brett, Alyssa, Josh, and Lakeisha for the wonderful desserts today. Next week, we will have a program from Deandra Pentecost on new trends in writing your resume and CV. So if you don't know the difference between a resume and CV, you'll want to be here next week for sure. If everyone can please rise, we'll do the 4-way test and wrap up our meeting. Of the things we think, say, and do, is it the truth?
The truth.
Is it fair to
Is it
all
fair
concerned?
to all concerned?
Will it build goodwill,
Will it build
and, better
goodwill and better
friendships?
friendships?
Will it be
Will it
beneficial,
be beneficial
to all concerned?
to all concerned?
All right, we are adjourned.